Welcome to the Smart Property Investment Show with your host, Phil Tarrant.
Okay, everyone, welcome to the Smart Property Investment Show. Thanks to all of you for joining us as we go down this path of exploring property investor. As you know, we like to bring in investors of all shapes and sizes, whether it's their first property, whether they've got 50 properties, whether they've been doing this for 1 year or been doing it for 20 years. And having in studio today, Greta Francis, who is a property investor who has got the pedal down at the moment, accelerating hard to accumulate property. And what we hope to do today is get inside her story, work out what she's doing and why she's doing it. Greta, how you going? Thanks for joining us on the show.
Fine, thank you. Thanks for having me along.
So before we come on air, we had a real quick chat and you mentioned that your portfolio now, you've got 4 properties in your portfolio and a principal place of residence as well. But you've bought those 4 properties in the space of a year. That's pretty quick going.
Yeah.
Why are you rushing so much?
Because my husband and I heading towards retirement in 10 to 15 years, and really we don't want to retire on the pension. We want to have a lifestyle that's a little bit better than the pension. Doesn't have to be extremely glamorous, but better than the pension. So we need to do something. We realised we needed to do something, and also with the idea of property, we want to give it time to grow. So really we need to get on by now and have that other 10 to 15 years.
So potentially at least 1, maybe 2 market cycles if you're lucky. So what was the realisation? Was it a point in time you just went, hang on a second, you've got to start thinking about retirement, or has this been an idea which is incubated over a period of time?
Yeah, a period of time, I think. Yeah. We have had properties in the past, and a property we sold so that we could move into our principal place of residence. And I think we were just sort of cruising along. We had a financial advisor and he advised us to go and buy something in super.
A property in super?
A property in super.
Okay.
So we did that. And he suggested an area and we went off and we looked. And we looked each Saturday and we came back and went, yeah, well, we don't know. And then we went again the next Saturday and the next Saturday, and then we lost momentum and we just stopped.
Okay.
And then again we spoke to our financial advisor, and he said, yes, Newcastle's doing really well, you really should go and do that. So we started again and we went, and we walked away just going, actually we don't know what we're doing. So we'd only ever purchased before in our own area, and so we realised we needed to get educated. So that was what we did.
Well, education is pretty important with property. So your financial advisor was saying, hey, go and look in this area, buy a property in this area. Was he basing that advice on any particular numbers or drivers? Do you know?
Only his own personal experience.
Okay.
So, I think he was seeing that the market was going up in Newcastle, and I think he just thought that was a good place to go. He wasn't in property himself other than having purchased for himself.
Yeah, and this is one of the, on the show we get a lot of people talking about using a financial advisor. A lot of financial advisors aren't really property specific. They might be really hot on stocks and shares and bonds and managed funds and whatever else, whether other investment classes, but they're typically not that strong in property. So the 4 investment properties you have now, are they all within your super, or you have some in super and some out
just
super?
One. The last one we purchased was in super.
Okay, so you set up at SMSF, went looking to try and put a property into it, went, that's too hard, let's park it, went and bought 3 properties outside of super.
Yeah, we didn't get as far as setting up the SMSF.
Okay.
So we said, no, this is all too hard, left it, ended up getting ourselves educated. So we became members of Real Wealth Australia, which was it's education and ongoing mentoring. So we've gone and had a couple of days in an academy learning about what you need to know for real estate, buying real estate, what to look for, everything that's encompassed with real estate. So then we walked away from there going, actually, we know what to do now. We can do this. We can buy a property. And we did. So we did not in super. So we got 3. And this last 4th one
is in your super.
In with super. So in the meantime, we set up the super fund because it takes a little while to set up a super fund.
Yeah, and it's a headache. Yeah.
Not really, because I let everyone else do it.
Yeah, good.
They say get a panel of experts, and that's what we did.
Is.
Yeah.
So the 3 properties that you have outside of super, where are they? What sort of properties are they?
2 are in Tasmania and 1 is in Canberra. And so the second one is in Canberra as well.
Okay. Is there any particular reason why you've chosen Tassie and Canberra to invest in?
Of course.
What are they? What are those reasons?
Of course there are. Conscious choices, very, very conscious choices. So what we learnt with Real Wealth was to do due diligence, look into an area, look at its infrastructure, call the town planning, the councils, look at what's going up, population movement, employment, so that you could choose an area that was growing. So the idea for us, of course, is to get in at a price that's affordable for us and be able to let the properties sit there and grow. So we've picked places for capital growth, but we're also getting a decent yield. So we're not, we haven't really put our hands in our pocket for having to cover any of the costs at this point in time. So they're all sort of sitting neutral, I think.
Okay, well, that's a good thing. And you spoke before about having a retirement where you don't need to live off the pension, and the state or the government-based pension in Australia is you're not living like a king on that.
No.
It's, a lot of people struggle actually living on the pension, so you want to empower yourself for a better retirement, which is cool. So what's the strategy then? Is 4 properties enough? Are you just going to sit there and now wait 15 years and sell a couple off and then retire on the rest of the income, or what's the plan?
No, definitely not stopping.
All right.
We're going. We're still moving fast ahead. So, fortunately, because we have a property in Sydney that the market going as crazy as it did, it gave us this opportunity to withdraw our equity in our home, that we could go forward with all of this. So we're in a good position for starting. I think we'll just keep going as much as we can. But in the initial setup was for Real Wealth was 10 in 10.
Okay. 10
in 10 years. Now, I think for us, we were thinking we'd do it faster than that because we didn't have 10 years to sit. The last one buying in 10 years' time is no good for us. We want that sooner. So what we'll do is we'll keep buying until we run out of the money, and we'll let our equity build up in those properties, and then we'll take the equity out of those and we'll go again and buy a few more properties, and then we'll sit on those. And I think, I don't know, we either sell off a few, pay them off. I don't know, there's a few options, I think, at this point in time to ideally sell off a couple, pay them off, have the rent coming in. The capital growth still.
Do you have a number that you want as passive income when you do choose to retire? Is that how you've worked out what this retirement will look like and building a portfolio around that?
Yeah, I look kind of.
You don't have to tell me the number, but if you do have a number, right?
Yeah. Okay. So we have a broker who's a bit of a dynamo.
Okay.
And do I do names on that sort of thing?
You can do. If I don't like the guy, I'll just stitch it out. No, who is it?
It's him from Blue Ink Finance.
Okay. I don't know those guys. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So David Wegner, and he's a real dynamo, and he keeps us motivated and very in line about, what we've got and what we can do. Also recognising that you can actually do a lot. You can think big.
So it's okay to think big, but, a lot of investors really struggle with that concept. They don't think big.
Yeah.
And you've got, you've already 4 properties in a year, 10 properties is the goal, and the number you have, and the number being for our listeners, what you want to retire on and what sort of passive income you need, and therefore how big you need your property portfolio to be, and therefore what sort of yield you get on it, and you work backwards from there. But a lot of people are very hesitant and procrastinate when it comes to property. So you guys aren't that. You're the other side of things. You're hungry and quite aggressive because you don't have a lot of, you've got 15 years, 20 years time on your side. You paint yourself as being really old. You're not. So, but so you haven't got a problem there. But my experience that people who are very hungry, if you're too hungry and you move too quickly without a real thought out process of every single property you acquire and where it sits within your portfolio, that's where things go wrong. Do you think you might fall into that trap at all?
Definitely not.
Okay.
No, but I totally understand that. Yeah. I get that. And I think that my husband and I are actually very conservative. So what we're doing, and it's because we're being supported in this, it's not all of us. Like we've got experts, mentors. So from Real Wealth, I have a particular mentor who really knows me, can work with me, and Maya and I can ring her all the time to keep on track. So I think what we're doing and when we're purchasing is we're doing enough due diligence to avoid any big pitfalls. So I think we're being quite conservative in what we're doing, really, because we're buying properties and we're already seeing the growth in them. They're actually not costing us anything to hold. And because we're doing that, we can keep moving forward and being able to borrow more money.
Yeah, I'm not that familiar with Real Wealth. How, do you pay them a fee to mentor you, or is it like a buyer's agent? How does it work?
We had an initial upfront cost.
Yep.
So you kind of have to get over that idea about the initial cost. And I had a couple of phone calls, and when I stumbled across it online, I spoke to a woman, and she was really able to just tell me her story. And she was like a real person as we were. We're just people getting along with our lives. And she was able to show me that you can step forward, I guess, because we were really hesitant for all those reasons that I guess a lot of people are, making the wrong choice, blowing the chance of keeping your home, maybe losing your home. So we had an initial upfront cost, all the education, and now I have this mentor. And I can ring my mentor. I mean, there's several mentors in there, but I guess you get used to one person. I can ring her anytime, as many times a day, and sometimes I ring her 3 or 4 times a day. If something's going on, if I'm doing a deal, ringing the real estate, I'll ring her back. I said this, they did this. She can guide me and gives me that help that I need.
So you're doing all the work. You're just leaning on someone to support you to stress test decisions, structure decisions, how you pitch things to real estate agents. So that's how it works. So it's not a buyer's agent service per se. You're doing all the work.
Yep.
They're providing you with the education.
And they're very big on that with Real Wealth. They're very big on do it yourself. We're not here, and they will never tell you an area to choose. They'll only ever guide you. They'll give you, they give you a lot of templates, questions to ask the councils, the town planners, the real estate agent, the property managers. I mean, these are all things that I just didn't know. When we were going up to Newcastle, I didn't know. Do you buy a 2-bedroom, a 3, 4, 5-bedroom home? I don't know. Now I know. I find an area. I find exactly what the tenants are wanting. I find out if there is a big enough rental market. So I guess because you're doing enough research, you get to buy, in the right place.
So what was it about Canberra that attracted you to them? Outside of the fact that, yes, it's going up in value and it's good yield, what were the actual fundamentals, the 4 or 5 different attributes of Canberra which said to you, it's for these reasons that this is going to go up in value? Yeah,
okay, so, Residex is a big one. So Residex had some areas in Canberra, in the Tuggeranong area, that were high on the capital growth. Then that's one thing, looking at the numbers. Then it's going and talking to real estate agents, what's selling, how much is selling, what increases they've seen, talking to property managers about how much, what the tenancy's like in the area, looking at the infrastructure, what's being built, what's going on.
It's always a challenge to pick spots because there's, I don't know how many thousands and thousands of suburbs in Australia. So to choose the suburb which is going to be performing the best at any particular time now and in the future is always a tough one. Hence the reason why I asked the question. It does come down to those fundamental drivers which are going to influence what happens to property. And obviously you're looking for a capital growth play, as in you need these things to go up in value as quick as possible, while still getting a good yield. And from what you're saying, you're pretty neutral in terms of the cost to hold these properties. What do you and your husband do for a living? Are you like massive income earners?
No. No, both government.
Okay.
I teach high school special needs.
Oh, cool.
And my husband is in the museum industry and maintenance.
Okay.
So far from it.
Far from it. So
yeah, far from it.
But you've been doing that for many, many years, I imagine. So
he has.
Yeah.
I didn't see the point in working all that much all the time. I kind of was a bit slow to come to that, and then I worked for a couple of years, and then we had children.
Okay.
So, and because we had 4,
kept you busy.
I full-time parented for a long time.
So this path that you're doing now around creating wealth, prepare for retirement, how old are your kids?
19, 17 and 2 14s.
Okay, so are they understand or across what you guys are trying to achieve? Do they understand? What are they?
Yeah, a little bit.
Because one of the biggest challenges today is financial literacy with our next generation coming through. So I always ask people how they sort of teach that literacy to their kids. And are you explaining to them, we've bought this property, this what it does, this how it works? Are
a
they
little
interested?
bit. Yeah, they are a little bit. I mean, there's a balance between sort of, we bought another property, but there's sort of a balance between not making life materialistic and about what we're buying and purchasing and everything, but understanding that we are growing our wealth, really. And I think, of course, the first thing that they all realised in their little eyes all lit up was, Oh, yeah, maybe one day they'll be leaving us a house.
Well, you've got 4 there already. One's in the super fund's a bit hard, but they can move them down if they want to live in Tasmania or Canberra. But
yes, that's right.
Yeah, and is sort of obviously you're building this portfolio for a comfortable retirement. But is there? So what's the plan with this portfolio? Is it to pass it to these guys at some point in time?
Well, you know what? In the ideal world,
when it happens,
and I guess as you say about that thing about being conservative, I think our goal is to, we're enthusiastic, keep going, we can keep stopping, checking in and everything is fine. I do have an end figure in mind, but it doesn't even have to be that. For me, it's just, if we've given it a really good shot, ideally, if it goes really well, which is obviously what we're aiming for, we could bring the kids in on board and we could be helping them buy property. So we can go joint ownership, things like that, to give the kids a hand, because as we see living in Sydney, I mean, at this point in time, it's sort of hard to know that your kids could get into the real estate market at all.
Yeah, I was reading the paper over the weekend. It was showing population growth by, I think it was 2042 in Sydney. It's like, it just blew my mind. They're saying we're just not prepared for it. We haven't got the road infrastructure, there's no housing, which is good for property investors because Sydney and Melbourne is going through a bit of a flat period in terms of price growth right now, off the back of a huge sort of couple of years of growth. So, the fundamentals for price growth over the time is great, which is good for people who are in the Sydney market. I'm in the Sydney market. You've got your principal place of residence here, but it's going to get harder and harder for younger people to secure property, and that's just the reality of the world. But it's a tough one. But are you buying actively at the moment? You getting ready for the next purchase?
Absolutely.
How far off is that?
I'm doing my due diligence at the moment. So that means sitting in front of the computer for hours, researching areas, articles, council planning, looking at what infrastructure's going on. So I'm doing that at the moment, and because I'm on school holidays.
Oh, there you go. So you're a full-time property investor at the moment?
Absolutely. This week I am. That's right. And
the school holidays 2 weeks, isn't it?
Yeah, just started.
Great. Yeah, traffic was good today. So
traffic was good today. Yeah, so and then my husband and I will go. We've booked a flight to the next destination.
Where's that, or is it a secret?
Oh, well, we're going to head up to Brisbane.
Okay.
Yeah. Have a look around.
Okay, cool.
Because we don't know these areas. So I guess the other thing that all this is for us is another little adventure.
Yeah.
So I'm in my midlife adventures. So, he and I get to go off. We've been parenting for a long time. And he and I get to go off and do all this together. And we really like that. And we both like looking at houses.
So it's just like a business for you guys, really?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is.
Who's the CEO? You or your husband?
I am. As my sister said, her husband's the boss, but she's the big boss.
She's the big boss.
So I think that's the same. I think I put more time to it than he does.
Are you more into it than he is?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Is that from just because you know where the end goal is, but you like the process of getting there? Is that the bit that you like?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do like the process. Yeah. And I'm the one on the phone all the time saying, Maya, what's this? So, yeah.
So when you fly up to Brisbane, to the airport there, and I imagine you get a rental car. What do you do? What happens first?
You get the map out.
Yeah.
So what will happen is...
Do you have like a big hit list of places you're going to go check out? Like, are you there just to, I would use the term just lurk around, drive around, the main streets and see what's going on?
Yeah,
and
a bit
understand.
of both.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So we'll go to the areas. I will probably line up a few real estate agents. This is what I've done. I did in Tassie. I lined up agents and got them to drive me around.
Okay.
And they then showed me their town, their area, and what was going on and what they knew. And you do it a couple of times because, people have always got different opinions. So I'm hoping to do that. So we'll do that, and it'll coincide with a Saturday. So we'll have a couple of days to speak to real estates, do our own driving around, looking, and then do some open homes. Because then you get a sort of sense of what you're looking for, you know.
And are you looking for, I don't know, are you as prescriptive saying we want 3-bedroom houses on 600 square metres of land, or are you
yes, absolutely.
Is that what you...
Yeah,
okay, so you're that prescriptive?
Absolutely. So that's your buying rules. And this is the thing that Real Wealth has told you about, because you just get rid of a lot of wasting your time, because you can just go out and look at a lot of houses if you wanted to.
Yeah.
But you've got to be very, very scripted in what you're doing. I'm going to talk to a few more property managers first, But from my understanding so far, it's 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms.
Okay.
So that's what you look for. You don't look for anything else. And that's right. If you want to have a bigger block of land, we might look for a bigger block of land now and think about subdivision down the track. So we won't look for anything under, 800, maybe 1,000, council rules, what council are saying, what you can subdivide sizes to.
Have you sent it into a particular council area in Brizzy where you're going to be looking, is it this weekend, did you say?
Next weekend.
Next weekend. Yeah. And any particular area of Brisbane you're looking at?
I haven't narrowed that down yet.
Okay.
No.
So you've got a week to work that out.
Yeah, that's right. Lucky I'm on holidays.
Yeah, that's cool.
Because I sort of started looking, sort of north of Brisbane, but I think those areas might already be a bit too pricey for what we're after.
Okay.
Because we also have to be mindful of not buying things that are too expensive, because that'll be it. We'll run out of money and not be able to keep going. So it's about servicing all your properties and your loans as well.
Yeah. How are you going with financing at the moment? Are the banks happy to lend? Because most investors have had challenges over the last year or so, but the read I get on the market is that banks are starting to have a lot more appetite now for investors again. How are you finding it?
Yeah, I read that. I didn't notice any difference for us. We did switch over to doing interest and principal.
Okay. To try and get cheaper rates?
Yeah, because they were at that time when the banks were pulling in.
Yeah. It could be a percentage point difference between interest only and principal and interest.
Yeah, it was, and more I think they were doing.
Yeah.
So we did do that, and that's okay because, we're paying off those loans. I mean, that's the goal in the end anyway.
Paying down the debt. Well, you've got to retire the debt. People talk about it. So, otherwise, if you've got a huge portfolio with a lot of debt on it, it's not really helpful.
Well, that's right. That's right. And so, those properties go up and the rent goes up and the loan goes down.
Yeah. Is your broker confident that you can continue to secure finance as you sort of go down this path of acquiring more properties?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So we got a little pool of funds ready for deposits. So that's all there ready. So he's, calling us, come on, when's the next one? Yeah.
How far down have you drawn on your principal as residence to realise the equity sitting on it? Have you sort of pushed that right back up, or is it still a comfortable level for you guys? From a debt perspective?
Yeah, no, I think it's still okay.
Yeah.
It's still fine. We're okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're conservative, but want to keep going pretty hard.
Yeah, that's right. And I think just keep making the right decisions and we can keep going.
So if you go back to yourself, back in time, sort of 15 years or so, what would you tell yourself now that you've down the path as a property investor when you were potentially thinking about it back then and not getting it right? What would you do different if you had a time machine?
Yeah, if I had a time machine, honestly, I would have gone into the real wealth earlier because...
It's about education, essentially.
It's about the education. It just keeps you tightly focused on where you're going. It's very easy to keep deviating from your path, either, making a bad choice, choosing an area that's not increasing, choosing an area that's too heavy debted that you can't then service the loan, or that's all you can do. And I guess too, it's just taken out all the fear for me. We were always a bit fearful, what do we do going ahead here, as I said. And I think having that education and but also that continued mentoring. Like, it's great to learn it all. And you can come away from those things and you go, I know so much more. And all those ideas about using your panel of experts, the people that you need, your broker, your accountant, the depreciation people for those, for your properties. But, that's great and absolutely essential. But, the ongoing thing for me is just the real winner as well.
So many moving parts, isn't there?
Yeah.
You've got to take control.
But that's right, and we are the ones in control.
So you're happy and confident? What keeps you awake at night when you think about your property portfolio?
Oh, where next?
Okay.
Yeah. I must say I've never thought about that question other than I just keep thinking, right, okay.
Well, you're not moving fast enough. Is that the problem?
Well, I guess I like nailing it.
Yeah.
I think that's probably what it is. I haven't thought about it before, but it's like my husband came home yesterday and I go, right, this is what I found out and this is this and, and I can ring my mentor and she'll say, well, consider this as well or...
Cool. Nice one, Greta. Enjoy the chat.
Yeah, thank you.
Keep going. Let us know. Let us know how... Keep in touch. Let us know how you get on. You're down as 4 in a year, so was it going to be another 4 in another year? Is that the idea?
I don't think so. I think this year 2, maybe 3.
Okay, 2, maybe 3.
Yeah.
Well, let's check in a year's time. See how you're going.
All right.
Enjoyed it. Enjoyed the chat. Thank you.
Thank you.
If you any questions at all, if you want to pick Greta's brain and email the team, I'm happy to answer any questions as well. editor@smartpropertyinvestment.com. We'll get in touch with you. We've also got Q&A session coming up as well. So we try and get through everyone's questions. So anything you would like to know about property, we'll get them answered by myself and some people I'll bring to the studio to help me out with that. If you're not subscribing to our daily morning market intelligence, so you're the first to know what's going on in property, remember to subscribe at smartpropertyinvestment.com.au/subscribe. If you like social media and that's how you like to get your info, just search Smart Property HQ, and please keep those reviews coming on iTunes. 5-star reviews are great. The team here really do appreciate it. As I mentioned beforehand, previous episodes, there's more to me than the Smart Property Investment Show. There's a big team here who are producing and editing and sticking it together and making me sound good. So they really do appreciate the feedback. We'll be back again next time. Until then, bye-bye.
The information featured in this podcast is general in nature and does not take into consideration your financial situation or individual needs and should not be relied upon. Before making any investment, insurance, tax, property or financial planning decision, you should consult a licensed professional who can advise whether your decision is appropriate for you. Guests appearing on this podcast may have a commercial relationship with the companies mentioned.